Hello and welcome to Nationwide News on the network service of the NTA. I am Norlene Ebel Ame. Let's begin the broadcast in Makurdi, where President Bola Tinubu is in Benue State, where he is meeting with stakeholders on hostilities in the state. Details in our subsequent newscast. In other news, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has commended President Bola Tinubu for signing into law the bills for the establishment of the Federal College of Education, Bende, Abia State, Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, Etembende, Abia State, and the Federal University, Okigwe, Imo State. Akpabio also extolled the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, who sponsored two of the bills, and other stakeholders in the Senate, including the Deputy Whip Senator Onyekachi Nwebwanyi, Deputy Minority Whip Senator Osita Ugu, and main sponsor of one of the bills, Senator Patrick Ndubweze, for their exceptional leadership, effective representation, and their commitment to the well-being of their people. In a statement, he praised stakeholders in both the House of Representatives and the Senate for their steadfastness and support for the renewed hope agenda of the Tinubu administration. The three institutions aim to provide quality education, research opportunities, and cater to the educational needs of the Southeast region and healthcare delivery to advance knowledge and improve health outcome in the region. Senator Akpabio said that the establishment of the institutions would mark a significant milestone in promoting education and development in the Southeast region. Okay, we shall be taking you to Makurdi at this point, where President is holding stakeholders meeting on hostilities in the state. Now the report.
Through the national anthem, we said, though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. It must reflect in everything we do, in our character. In the economy, in sharing, in developing our people. Maybe part of the solution, NTA, as you are here, is to equally find a channel, a radio station for Benue, work with them, so that we keep talking to each other about tolerance, the capacity to build our family as one single family. I salute those who have governed this state before, and particularly my friend, George Akume. We didn't have to come. We received a lot of yams and food stuff from him. Not dead bodies. Let us, please, find a way to form a committee of elders here that committee to comprise those who had governed this state before,
El Elsewhere, Nigeria is set to make waves hosting tap mines in the maritime sector from West African countries and beyond on World Hydrography Day, to be anchored by the Nigerian Navy in Abuja. The Navy says the event will unlock a future of safer navigation, stronger security, and a thriving blue economy. Defense correspondent Naja'atu Tijani reports.
From dismantling illegal refining sites to regulating crude oil loading platforms, naval operations are crucial to safeguarding Nigeria's energy resources, which can also be found in the sea. This makes the theme, Seabed Mapping, Enabling Ocean Action, apt for this year's World Hydrography Day celebration, anchored by the Nigerian Navy.
Last year, we celebrated the role of hydrography in maritime safety. This year, we took a bold step by addressing regional gaps and aligning with global frameworks as well as regional frameworks. In 2025, we aim to firstly strengthen regional collaboration through the Maiden West African Hydrographic Summit, foster joint surveys, and sharing data platforms, both virtual and in situ.
World Hydrography Day is celebrated annually on June 21. Nigeria, which has contributed 85,000 square nautical miles of the 26% global ocean mapping, will be marking the day with a series of events anchored by the Nigerian Navy, including lectures, screenings, and knowledge-sharing sessions. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
Rivers is one of the states usually affected by perennial flooding, a situation exacerbated by its low-lying topography, with the Nigerian Meteorological Agency NIMET raising concerns over potential flooding in 31 states and 148 local government areas. Environmental experts and residents in Rivers State are calling for urgent, proactive measures to mitigate the risk. Gabriel Amonike reports.
2025 seasonal climate prediction released by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has raised alarm over the likelihood of intense flood affecting large parts of the country, including River State.
Everybody must be on deck to ensure that they prepare early, and in particular, heat to flood alerts.
One of the major contributors to the flood menace is the widespread blockage of drains and the alarming number of structures erected on natural waterways.
The government needs to bring back the monthly sanitation. It's very important at this point. And the government needs to also educate the people. Most of these people are highly ignorant. The government needs to also advance enforcement actions.
Residents of communities have expressed concern and admit that blocked gutters and the lack of regular sanitation contributes to the problem.
Once we begin to see floods are coming, certainly will be equal to the task.
Preparation for this flooding is not optional, it's life-saving. In Port Harcourt, Gabriel Amonike, NTA News.
Thank you, Gabriel. And still staying in Port Harcourt, let's now join Robinson Derataide, who will tell us more about the flood situation in River State. Robinson, hello. What is the response of the people to the flood situation in River State?
You know that River State is a flood-prone territory, and it has a history of perennial flooding. The prediction of NIMET that the state will be flooded this year didn't sound well to the people, because over the years they have been suffering over flooding situation in the state. Beyond the flood that is caused by a rise in sea level, land reclamation, building structures on natural water bodies, and the blockage of the drainages within the state metropolis has been major factors causing flash flood in the state. And in recent times, the rain has been very intensive, and this has caused a lot of flood within the state metropolis. Although this flash flood does not last beyond 2 days, but the impact it has on those areas are monumental. So the people are concerned that if proper arrangement is not made by authorities, this year's flood may also cause serious damage to them. A major canal in the state capital that experts believe should be cleared is the Inter-Wagba Canal. This canal cuts across, crisscross the metropolis. So they believe that if this canal is cleared and the drainages are also cleared and channeled to this canal, it will reduce the impact of flash flood within the state capital. They are also advising those living within the floodplain areas. About 13 local government areas are usually flooded in River State, especially the Orashi region. So they are advising people to evacuate, to leave those places now and go to uplands so that the flood will not have serious effect on them. They are also advising farmers within the area to start harvesting their crops now before they lose their flood to the flood. The reports we are getting from Bayelsa actually indicate that some of the canals within that city, within Yenagoa city, has been cleared. So they are also hoping that the same thing will be replicated here in Port Harcourt and reduce the impact when the flood eventually comes.
All right, Robinson, I want to ask, in terms of clearance of drainages, of course, to reduce the impact of flooding in the state, what are residents actually doing in their own corner?
Well, residents can only do little when it comes to flash flood. But as regards the major flood caused by a rising sea level, there is not much they can do. It is the government that normally set up a flood committee, and this flood committee removes the people from the affected victims and place them in a makeshift centers where they also cater for them. But as we speak now, there is no any indication from the government angle as to whether there will be any committee or any of such arrangement this year. But NEMA is the only agency that is trying to sensitize the people, and they are inviting stakeholders to tell the people on their own to start preparing for the main flood. As for the flash flood within Port Harcourt metropolis, there is this regular sensitization on the people to stop dumping refuse on the drainages, and also for residents on their own to start clearing the drainages within their area. But this may not really go much if the canal itself, the Inter-Wagba Canal itself, is not cleared. And that, I think, is within the powers of the 3 tiers of government.
Thank you very much, Robinson Derataide, for giving us updates on the flood situation and the preparedness, in River State. And still talking flood, it's been 3 weeks since the devastating flood ravaged an area in Mokwa local government area of Niger State. As at the last count, 207 bodies have been recovered and 500 families documented as affected. Dauda Mohammed, reporting from the flood site, confirms that flooding was experienced in the same vicinity 13 days after the earlier disaster, this time with minimal damage and no loss of life.
The Mokwa flood disaster came as a surprise to everyone, but since then, relevant emergency response agencies in collaboration with civil society organizations and support of development partners have been catering for the needs of the survivors.
Fumigation and giving of medicines, we are very grateful. Niger State Ministry of Health is doing that. NEMA is also doing that. Also the military. They came to help our people.
As part of efforts towards addressing the immediate housing needs of surviving families, account details are being compiled to assist with funds.
So we have challenges of the account numbers, challenges of most of them, they don't have the account numbers on their palm, and the records have been washed away. And some of them have smaller accounts, like you have those that are using money point for just normal transaction or pay for transactions. And we are seeing what we can do to overcome those situations.
Cross-section of survivors interviewed expressed gratitude to the federal and state governments as well as civil society organizations for the assistance they've continued to render. Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
Still staying with Dauda, We have him live joining us to speak further on the situation in Mokwa at the moment and what plans are on ground for the survivors after the internally displaced persons camps are closed down. Hello, Dauda, over to you.
Very much. We're presently at Mokwa, the site of the flood disaster that ravaged this community about 3 weeks ago. Presently, as of last count, we have 207 bodies recovered and close to 500 families affected by the incident, families and households. The area now is more or less a stream because the last time it rained, this was the channel that the water used to pass and empty out of the community. And since after the disaster, most of the survivors have been living in two basic IDP camps. And we visited those camps. They are being well taken care of by most of the development partners and the relief agencies, NEMA, INSEMA, WFP, and others. Even the civil society organizations like the Jamaatul Nasrul Islam and Diwa Foundation are also assisting to cater for them. They are being fed 3 meals per day. And apart from that, they've been given so many social amenities like blankets, buckets, and other things to survive. And as of presently, the main issue with the camps is most of them are porous, so the survivors don't like staying in the camp. Most of the times they go back to their houses. Only when it's time for a meal, they come back and collect their meals. But by and large, we interacted with some of them and they are all of the opinion and thankful to the kind of assistance they've received. The state government announced that the IDP camps, both of them will be closed by the end of this month, June. And after then, what is happening now is they are documenting all the families and taking their bank details, as promised by the governor of Niger State, Umar Mohamed Bago. However, based on the promise by the federal government that 2 billion naira has been earmarked to build houses for them, the state government, in collaboration with the Indalile, that is the paramount ruler in Mokwa, have allocated a land, and already a CFO has been granted for that land, where what is remaining now is for the federal government intervention to build the houses.
Our reporter Dauda Mohammed in Mokwa, Niger State, reporting live on the scene of the LA incident. And another news, amid growing concerns over the security of public broadcasting infrastructure in Nigeria, the management of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, has visited the headquarters of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, in Abuja to seek a stronger institutional partnership. The engagement is part of efforts to safeguard critical broadcast facilities, particularly community stations. Dennis Temple has details.
Following a wave of vandalism, theft, and other security breaches affecting NTA's operations across the country, the Nigerian Television Authority is seeking several ways of protecting its community-based stations, especially those struggling to stay on air, but could not due to targeted attacks on equipments and installations by criminal elements. The Director General of NTA, represented, emphasized that safeguarding the integrity of public broadcasting is essential to national development, peace, and security. He urged the NSCDC to treat media infrastructure as critical national assets.
We would love to cement our relationship with you because most of our community stations are in the remote area, and the aims and objective of establishing those community stations so that they will go in line with the cultural belief of each section of the country.
So we will continue to provide and do our best to protect your equipment. You will have to do us one favor. We know it is very capital intensive. Provide facilities and access who do not have fences.
This development signals a shift towards institutional collaboration in tackling infrastructure sabotage, a growing threat that jeopardizes the flow of credible information. In Abuja, Dennis Temple.
At this point, we shall be taking you to our Lagos Network Center, where Awal Yusuf Jibo is waiting to deliver more on Nationwide. Hello, Awal.
Nolene. The federal government is intensifying efforts towards reviving moribund industries in the country as part of measures to stop capital flight and job losses. Minister of State for Industry John Eno, speaking at an engagement with the Industrial Revolution Work Group, assured that solutions to the problems bedeviling the nation's manufacturing sector are in sight. Joel Popola has the report.
The manufacturing sector is the bedrock of any economy, with its capacity to create jobs and wealth from economic growth. The federal government is now thinking outside the box to achieve the much-needed industrial revolution that will serve as a catalyst for the nation's economy to gain traction. The Industrial Revolution Work Group, which the Minister of State for Industry, John Eno, says has been building on the momentum established by the present administration, has reposed confidence in the Nigerian economy.
We are hoping that the work that we do will be able to serve as such encouragement as to enable even some of the industries or manufacturers that have relocated to find good reason to come back.
You can access funds easily. And if along the line you're able to have people to work very much, it is expected that they'll be rebound.
The group focused on addressing some of the teething problems in the manufacturing sector as 5 areas such as energy, security and infrastructure, affordable financing, promotion and patronage of made-in-Nigeria goods, and other salient areas.
Success will be measured by the kind of the momentum that we're able to create, the systems we're able to fix, the industries we're able to revive, and the jobs we're able to enable.
As IRWG attempts to reinvigorate Nigeria's manufacturing sector, government is also willing to implement the recommendations of the group. The theme of the technical session is From Activities to Outcomes, Driving Industrial Execution. In Lagos, Joel Ukwola, NTA News.
As the core rainy season begins, Lagos residents vulnerable to flash floods have been assured of adequate measures to manage flooding and ensure safety. Relief camps for temporary relocation are also available in different parts of the state in case of emergency situations. Diana Ajale brings us up to speed.
The federal government has issued flood alert for 33 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Approximately 1,249 communities in 176 local government areas have been identified as being at high risk of flooding. 2,187 communities in 293 local government areas are at moderate risk. Aware of this information and the fact that Lagos State has been identified as one of the high-risk states due to rising sea levels, the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, is leveraging on effective collaboration and preparedness to cushion the impact of flooding across identified communities in the state.
In terms of preparedness, we are there. We have established a relief camp in all the 3 senatorial districts in Lagos State. At the Lagos West, we have Igondo. At the Lagos East, we have Agbowa Relief Camp. And at the Lagos Central, it's ongoing. We have one at Lekki.
We're putting our best as the Environmental Protection Agency to keep the environment clean and clear.
Meanwhile, in its quest to gain from the experience of LASEMA, the Senior Special Assistant to the Ondo State Governor on Emergency Response and his team took part in the collaborative visit on flood control and management.
I'm confident that this engagement will yield valuable insights and best practice that will enhance our emergency response in Ondo State.
The Permanent Secretary, LASEMA, Olufemi Okeosanitolu, listed local governments likely to be affected by flash flood in 2025 to include Alimosho, Etiosa, Koshofe, and Amuodofin. Residents are advised to join the government in the fight against flooding by adopting precautionary measures like keeping their environment and drainage channels clean to ensure free flow of flood water. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. Nationwide will continue with Nolin in Abuja after this timeout. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Abuja on Nationwide. Governor Caleb Mutfwang says his administration will continue to reactivate ministries, departments and agencies for optimal performance. He stated this while inaugurating 16 new metro buses procured for the State Transport Service. Priscilla Grumnan reports.
The metro buses were procured by the state government in line with President Tinubu's charge to state governments to work towards alleviating the hardship experienced by the people.
To the glory of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Well, about the metro bus, I think it's a welcome idea. And it helps save money, especially for those going far.
It's a very welcome idea. It will ease the suffering of transport, the high cost of transport. It will help the less privileged as well.
For Plateau government, transport sector is one of the critical aspects of the people's life and so will continue to receive the blessings of government. Governor Mutfwang made it clear that the buses were procured with the legitimate earnings of the state government, urging users to be patriotic and cultivate maintenance culture.
We're also looking at how to be able to improve the air services here. We signed an MOU with the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria last week to upgrade the Jos Airport into an international cargo airport.
In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
On birthday felicitation, President Bola Tinubu congratulates Taiwo Oyedele, chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, on his 50th birthday. The president describes him as an accomplished tax expert, accountant and economist who exemplifies excellence, resilience and innovation in public and private service, highlighting his inspiring journey from humble beginnings in Ikaram Akoko, Ondo State, to academic and professional distinction at top global institutions such as the London School of Economics, Yale University and Harvard Kennedy School. The president commends Mr. Oyedele, former Africa tax leader at PwC, for his pivotal role in championing Nigeria's fairer, simpler and more growth-oriented tax system, and prays that God will grant him continued strength, wisdom and fulfillment as he continues his dedicated service to Nigeria and humanity. Let's now take you to our Ibadan studios, where Kemi Oshin is there to present more news on Nationwide. Hello, Kemi.
And welcome to Ibadan. Strengthening farmers' support, enhancing agricultural practices, improving processing and value addition, while promoting market access have been identified as factors that will lead to increased yield, higher quality products and greater export earnings from cocoa, kola nut, cashew, tea, as well as coffee. These were the submissions of experts at the in-house research review of the Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, CRIN, in Ibadan. Kende Omolosho completes the reports.
Nigeria ranks fourth as the largest cocoa exporter globally, with a production of approximately 300,000 metric tons of cocoa beans annually. The cocoa sector, which is a significant source of foreign exchange, along with other agricultural products for the country, according to research, supports over 300,000 farming families in the country.
2024, a ton of cocoa was 1.8 million naira. But today, it's about 11 million, 12 million naira. You can see the change in terms of the amount of money that farmers are getting.
When we were younger, we were not talking about oil. Cocoa was one of the agricultural crops that were cash spinners. That was how Nigeria was built.
Developing a wider range of processed products to stakeholders will increase the market opportunities for the country.
Regulations that incentivize not only the farmers, the aged farmers, even bringing the youth closer to make sure that Nigeria continue to play a role in terms of not only developing the cocoa economy, but at the same time making sure that we are also giant in production.
I discovered that oil can be out of coffee, sugar can be out of coffee. There is no wastage in the value, economical value of coffee. Now, looking at this opportunity is going to create a lot of job opportunities for the youth.
Improving incentives for the agricultural sector, including tax breaks, subsidies, and investment in research and development will allow Nigeria to unlock the full potentials of its agricultural sector, thereby improving the livelihoods of its farmers, while creating significant increase in its export earnings from cashew, cocoa, coffee, tea, and cola. Kehinde Omolosho, NTA News.
Engaging children within the age of adolescence and encouraging them to speak up on any issues confronting them will go a long way towards solving the menace of harassment facing the girl child and other social vices in the society. This were the submissions of various speakers at a seminar organized by the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Kwara State Council, in conjunction with a non-governmental agency. Aisha Abubakar has more.
With the theme, safeguarding our adolescents at home, school and community to reach their full potentials, various speakers, including government representatives, traditional rulers, educationists, media practitioners, and parents, decried the rate at which adolescents, especially the female children, are involved in different social vices such as cultism, thuggery, and Yahoo scammers. Speakers after speakers harped on the need to monitor the activities of children both at homes and in schools, emphasizing that adolescent age is a sensitive period that children need parental care.
The Ministry of Social Development has been campaigning against female genital mutilation because Kwara State has been known for the highest prevalence of this gender-based violence. And for that reason, we have, in fact, it's still ongoing. It's a 3-month program to see that, yes, things like this are being curbed.
This program is very, very good. If we are able to raise our girls up to the expectation, the society will be okay.
The situation where we live either by natural tendency or kind of our own inability to control emotions, or when we try to bring our children up as a single mother or single fatherhood, single parenting, is always very dangerous to the lifestyle.
Parents and guardians are also urged to warn their children to desist from online dating with men, which they said could be detrimental to their lives. Aisha Abubakar Yahaya, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. Nationwide will continue in Sokoto after this timeout. Do stay with us.
Joining us in Sokoto. In order to improve the quality of life of an average Nigerian, the government, under the auspices of the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, has empowered thousands of people across the country through many poverty reduction projects and programs. Whether these initiatives have achieved their purpose is the focus of a workshop conveyed in Birnin-Kebbi by the Monitoring and Evaluation Department of the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning. Jafar Yusuf Ilo reports.
The target of the workshop is to evaluate the effectiveness of the National Poverty Reduction with Growth Strategy Program in achieving its objectives. Key areas of focus include assessing the program's success in reducing poverty and promoting economic growth, verifying the effective use of training and starter kits provided to beneficiaries, and providing a platform for stakeholders to share experiences and identify areas of improvement. Beneficiaries emphasize the importance of collective effort in ensuring the program's success.
Also, we are giving a starter pack of standing dryer and some rollers. But the problem is that some of us doesn't have fund to start the business.
The Director, National Monitoring and Evaluation at the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, Olusombo Oyinde Yakubu, stressed the need for stakeholders to work together to empower youth to become self-reliant and productive members of the society.
The NPRGS, being a key federal government initiative, was designed to accelerate national development by lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty.
Olusombo led the staff from Industrial Training Fund, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, State Ministry of Agriculture and Natural Resources to inspect some of the businesses of the beneficiaries. The program is a stepping stone to strengthen and maximize the impact on poverty reduction and economic development in Nigeria. In Benue, Jafari Subilo, NTA News.
Readiness, discipline, and physical fitness among troops. The 8th Division of the Nigerian Army has kicked off its inter-brigade warrant and non-commissioned officers competition at the Army Cantonment, Gusau, Zamfara State. Correspondent Haliru Muhammad reports that the annual event also aims to inculcate leadership capabilities among personnel of the participating brigades.
The week-long event brings together warrant officers and senior non-commissioned officers from various brigades under the 8th Division. They are to compete in series of military tasks, including map reading, obstacle crossing, weapon handling, swimming, drill, and a 3.5-kilometer endurance run. Declaring the event open, the General Officer commanding 8th Division and Commander Sector 2 Operation Fonsanyama, Major General Ibukunle Ajose, represented, stated that the competition is designed to improve regimentation, enhance performance, and boost morale among officers.
The Nigerian Army remains committed to maintaining a highly motivated, professional, and competent fighting force. In this regard, the role of our warrant officers and non-commissioned officers cannot be overstated.
Commander 1 Brigade Gusau Zamfara State Brigadier General Timothy Oforum, represented by the Brigade's Chief of Staff, emphasized the importance of the competition and encouraged all participants to compete with honor and represent their units with pride.
The primary goal of this inter-brigade competition is to develop tactical skill, fostering leadership, teamwork, boosting morale of troops, and esprit de corps.
The opening ceremony featured parade by the participating brigades and display of drills in line with the military tradition. In Gusau, Haliru Muhammad, NTA News.
And those are the news updates from Sokoto. It's now back to Nolin in Abuja.
Very well, Sadia Umar Digi. The Nigerian public has been challenged to get involved and take full ownership of the fight against substance abuse and illicit drug trafficking with a view to curbing the menace and preventing young people from falling into the drug trap. Chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired, gave the challenge at a joint press conference with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, at the agency's national headquarters in Abuja to announce week-long activities to commemorate this year's World Drug Day.
On prevention, it is vital to stress that the responsibility of shielding our citizens from harmful substances does not rest solely on the shoulders of NDLEA. It is a collective duty, one that demands the involvement of all, including the general public.
UNODC commitment to Nigeria remains firm. We stand in solidarity with the Nigerian government, civil society, and communities in the fight to dismantle criminal chains, prevent addiction, and restore dignity through recovery.
This year's theme, The Evidence is Clear, Invest in Prevention, is aimed at addressing the country's drug use situation with the support of UNODC. Let's take sports news now.
All is now set for the Super 8 playoffs of the Nigeria Youth League Cup as the 8 participating teams now know their opponents following the draws for the playoffs conducted in Abuja on Tuesday. The draw, which was conducted by former Nigerian international and some known names in the Nigerian sports fraternity, saw Eyimba draw against Kwara United in the cutting racer for the playoffs. The playoff, which will be played at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena in Lagos, begins on the 23rd of June and ends on June the 30th.
I think it's also very important that we also make our league, especially for the youth level, to be very, very competitive and also give them that global visibility that it deserves.
South Africa's Mamelodi Sundowns secured a 1-0 victory over Busan of South Korea in the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup, marking their first win in the African Club Championship as Italy's Inter Milan drew 1-1 with Monterrey from Mexico in their opening encounter. Meanwhile, Manchester City is set to kick off their Group G campaign against the Moroccan club Wydad AC, and Real Madrid will start their campaign against Al Hilal from Saudi Arabia. Elsewhere, Liverpool will commence their defense of the Premier League title by hosting Bournemouth at Anfield on August 15. And last season's runner-up, Arsenal, will travel to face Manchester United 2 days later, as announced by England's top flight league on Wednesday. And Chelsea will host FA Cup winners Crystal Palace at Stamford Bridge on August 17th. And finally, in tennis, two-time Wimbledon champion Petra Kvitova has been granted a white card entering into the women's singles draw as she was ranked too low for direct qualification. The Czech player, a winner at Wimbledon in 2011 and 2014, began her return to the sport last February after a 17-month maternity leave. With sports updates, Ijoma Pitawante, NTA News.
Ijoma's sports story there concludes Nationwide today. Thank you so much for watching. I am Nolene Ebel Ame. Bye for now.